Hello and welcome to Political Fireworks. I'm your host, Faith Shikanga. A big welcome, our lovely viewers, for always tuning in. Now, if you've not subscribed to Salasya TV, please do so to always be in the loop about the latest happening, especially in the political world. Now, on to our very first story. Of course, it's all about the funeral of the former IEBC chairperson, Wafula Chebukati. Well, several leaders did attend, and unlike the usual speech we are used to, there's a way that most of the speech were being measured, and it was a bit less politicking. Well, to start us off, of course, is the Honorable Peter Salasya, whom, as usual, he did receive these wild cheers when it was his time to speak. And of course, the crowd did expect a lot from him, but to their disappointment, he really didn't speak much. All he said was asante, asante sana, and said he would not talk. So I'm just wondering what might have happened to our very vocal and the ever dramatic Peter Salasya. Well, now let me just take you back. Let's have a backtrack before the now official handshake between ODM and UDA. There's a clip that the Honorable Peter Salasya did, claiming that, of course, the Raila Odinga currently has already sealed a deal, and is a man who doesn't really have the interest of most citizens at heart, claiming that he's all about the political benefits that he will gain from, of course, the collaboration between UDA and ODM.
So that what Raila is telling the people that is consulting, that man is a selfish man. I'm telling you, he's a selfish man. Kenyans should tell Raila, fuck off. Because that man has already sealed the deal with Ruto. They have already sealed the deal. Now he's moving around we want to tell Raila that your days where you used to create tension and people used to guess your political moves and say that what is Raila planning? There's no plan. We know you. I remember before we started that meeting, we started that meeting called Mandamano Sufuria. We called us, the members of Parliament of Western, and we sat with you in Karen, tukaanza kuongea, and we asked you very clear, what do you want us, what is the end game before we start this Mandamano? And that is where we went to Migori, we went to Busia, and I went to Mombasa, I went to Kilifi, I went to Narok, Kajiado, Nairobi. Here we were there. We were being tear gassed, and he told us that he was very clear that he wants talks with Ruto. That is what he always wants. Raila will never have any interest with Kenyans at all.
So this was down 2 days ago, and finally we now had this very official, an official memorandum. So I'm just wondering, at times we should actually listen to Honorable Peter Salasya, because that time, if I would have met him that time, I would even asked him, is there something that we don't? Because it was not official. Yes, that time I think we were still on the weighing situation. Raila Odinga did claim about, I'm still consulting. So we were not really sure, but he made us believe so, and that is exactly what has happened. Do share your thoughts about what you think, of course, about Peter Salasya. Is the current broad-based government all about uniting the government, or these are just the usual political benefits that we are used to? Now we move on, of course, to the president. Now, apart from the president and the governor of Trans Nzoia County, those two are the only leaders who had this lengthy talk a bit, and they pointed out about the pressing issues that we do face as a country. And starting off to his speech, the president reassured Kenyans that the late IEBC Chairperson Chebukati was a man of integrity, a man who could not be compromised even under very intense pressure.
Wafula Chebukati did the right thing. He was intelligent, and he could not be confused because he was an intelligent person. Wafula Chebukati was courageous and a bold leader. He could not be threatened. He could not be blackmailed. He did the right thing. And Wafula Chebukati was a man of integrity. He could not be compromised. He could not be bought. He could not be bribed. He did the right thing.
Well, you and I know that this only means one thing. He was just trying to tell us that the elections, he rightfully won the elections, and that Chebukati did not take sides as most Kenyans would attribute him to. And I think this is even what led to the very mixed reaction with the Chebukati's death, something that would have normally been received with a lot of RIP messages. And another issue that he touched on, of course, is the issuing of the IDs, and assured Kenyans that from now henceforth, ID issuing will not be discriminative based on religion, based on your background. It will not be discriminative in any way. Now, another thing, of course, he cannot fail mentioning about the current broad-based government. He reassured Kenyans that the broad-based government was just another way to unite Kenyans, and it was not a move for political benefits.
Jana tulikubaliana na kiongozi wa ODM Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga kwamba tushirikiane, sio kwa manufaa ya kiongozi fulani ama jamii fulani, ni kwa manufaa na sio kwa manufaa ya mambo ya kugawana vyeo ama manufaa eti ya uchaguzi. Hapana, tuungane ili tuweze kuhakikisha kwamba Kenya inapiga hatua ya kwenda mbele. Tupange kwa pamoja uchumi wetu, tupange kwa pamoja ajira kwa vijana wetu, tupange kwa pamoja vile tunaweza kulisha taifa na vile tunaweza kuendesha taifa letu katika hali ambapo Wakenya wote watajihisi kwamba they belong to one inclusive, indivisible, progressive nation called Kenya.
Now, something else was happening. Let me just call it an extension of the official handshake. Gen Zs equally gathered from UDA and ODM. Of course, ODM being led with our very vocal Samuel, and UDA, the leader was a bit obscure, but there was somebody who represented the leaders. So these are youth who came together. And the Samuel goes ahead and, of course, defends the Raila Odinga, claiming that it was not betrayal. This was just his political party leader trying to unite Kenyans. And one of the core issues that were being addressed in the memorandum, of course, it's the issue of unemployment. And he insisted that unemployment, these are the issues that should be implemented. Failure to implement this will attract another very massive demonstrations with the youth going back to the streets. Now, if you just listen to that statement, then the Samuel we knew back then, if he would have said this, trust me, there could be some level of trust. But as it stands, we as Kenyans, there's a way that we are experiencing a deficit of trust, of course, with Samuel, because initially he was all about the people, but right now he's in the ODM. So the issue of telling us that if the main issues that, of course, deal with the youth are not implemented, the government should face the youth back on the streets. Well, the only way we can do that is just to wait. It's just a wait and see situation and see how it will unfold. This is what he had to say.
Kasbul Makoure, I'll be chairing this initiative and ensuring that we bring all the youth together in this country to ensure that this government works and delivers for us. Viva comrades, viva! Viva! Long live Raila Odinga, long live! Long live! Long live President William Ruto, long live! Long live! Long live the Prime Minister Raila Odinga, long live! Long live! Who says that the Right Honorable Prime Minister Raila Odinga betrayed them? I think it is a rather unfortunate position. It is unrealistic because the Prime Minister has offered himself not once for leadership, and he has consistently been rejected at the ballot. So whenever he enters a handshake, it is usually him accepting and respecting the voters' law. And the Prime Minister is doing nothing that he has not done before. He has gone to the streets. If anything, he went to the streets. He's consistently gone to the streets for Finance Bill 2023. Then we joined him on the streets for 2024. Now, because we've done protests and we've gotten an audience, because remember previously, there were people who were talking about shareholding who did not want, they were calling us what we are kelele when we were doing Jar Revolution and Sufuria Revolution. Now we've gotten a chance at the table. That's what we are saying, that now we are embracing this dialogue approach. And that's why you even see at the end they talk about the NADCO. If the dialogue fails, the streets cannot be closed. But I believe that this process will bear fruit for the Kenyan.
Still on the youth, can I call it the youth UDA ODM collaboration or something? Now, if you look at the guys who are with the yellow T-shirts written UDA, these are youth that are claimed to be members of the UDA party, that they were in yellow T-shirts chanting praises, of course, to Ruto and singing Ruto's hymns. Doesn't really go to show that they are really truly members. I'm just wondering how authentic this is, because if you do realize, now take for instance the lady who gave the speech, the lady who talked about, praising Ruto, appreciating him for this move that unites the government. If you think about it, the lady sounded very scripted. And if you looked keenly, there's a way that her eyes were off the camera. This only goes to show she was probably faced with some teleprompter or some script. And not the usual way you would expect. Yes, he sounded very polished. And I'm not trying to dispute the fact that he did sound very polished. But there's a way it wasn't real. It was really, really scripted. So this just goes to question how authentic these UDA youth members are. Well, do share your thoughts. Do you think that this is a real move by the youth to, of course, combine as the big party and kind of just push the extension between ODM and move it to the youth level? Or this was just another choreographed thing to make us believe that indeed the youth are in government? Now, to another interesting story, of course, the long anticipated Jesus Ministry winners, the demonstrations was to happen today on Sunday. But well, it wasn't really that massive. It wasn't as expected because for starters, the media were barred from even covering the whole story. And to be precise, Citizen TV, one of the reporters, the camera was being tampered with. And of course, they got rid of his flash disk. This just goes to show that whatever was happening was not to be aired. And yeah, we did have a few youth chanting Hakuna Mwizi kama Ruto. Let's see how this turned out.
Kwa kamera na wamebaki na hiyo kamera. Wameninyang'anya flash disk nilikuwa nayo, wamecheck kwa mfuko kila kitu kwa simu yangu wamedelete.
I had come here to voice my concerns. The entire place was the intention. I can't say it may fail because we have not seen people being tear gassed here. We have succeeded. Everyone was afraid. They need to know that we are capable of these things and we can do it if we want to. I could see Pastor Mwai mentioning Gen Z every 5 seconds. Go check the video. Every 5 seconds, Gen Z, oh, Gen Z that. Gen Z, oh, Gen Z that. It's because they know now that we can do something about it. And we're not going to sit down when they're ruining our country.
These demonstrations, and for once, let's give it to them. There's a way that police didn't really act with excessive force as we are used to. Instead, they resorted for very many youth being arrested. So that's just the ideal thing to do. Now, let us know what you think about this. Now, a very big thank you, our lovely viewers, for just sparing your time listening to us. And of course, this could not be any success without the wonderful team that I'm working with. Of course, led with Fabian Cheriot and Walter Serem. I've been your host, Faith Shikanga, and this is Salasya TV. Do stay tuned.